Nature Sham.
This is Mainstreet with Gary Allen. Now, here's Gary.
And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Mainstreet. You already see my guests, but I have a few things I have to take care of before we get on to that. I hope you've all had a wonderful week since the last time I saw you. Gary Allen here with you, your host of Mainstreet. Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Next Tuesday, we have the Elks and the Japanese Garden on, as we will let you in on a few secrets next week as we continue to move forward with this program. And I appreciate your participation by joining us every Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock. The response has been great. By the way, a lot of people have asked me about the water bottle, and I get dry during the program. So if you have some liquid libation at home, please use it. I'll have one of the ushers come by with a complimentary beverage for you if you need one, whatever is necessary. But before I get to my lovely, beautiful guest, my future ex-wife, I just wanted to, which her husband will be very angry about, I want to thank some people for making this show possible. First of all, my executive producer, Mr. Rick Del Vecchio. Rick and I have been friends for many, many, many years. My studio producer, Andres. Without these two, I couldn't get this show going. Michael and Grant Miller for giving me the platform here at C News Network to be part of it. And also, I just want to thank our community sponsors, the Japanese Garden, as well as the Elks Lodges of South Florida. Thank you very much for your continued support of this particular program. And we've got some exciting news coming on about those two entities in South Florida. You've already seen her, so here goes the pitch that I was going to give you about how wonderful this young lady is. She's a songstress of note. She's making South Florida her home for many, many years. She's originally from New York, and but she has a repertoire that goes from Broadway to the standards, the American Songbook, to jazz originals that she's come up with. She also produces her own shows, her salute to Barbra Streisand, her salute to some of the divas of today. And one of the divas that are part of her group is a young lady who, and her husband, who I opened for my very first job in Las Vegas. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. She is renowned in South Florida. She has a fabulous voice. And if I can just quote from what someone once said about her, to experience Jay Cee, you have to love her, and you do. And I've experienced her on YouTube and every place else, and to know her is to love her. Would you please welcome Mr. Yeah, sure. I'm thinking of Tom Driesen, Mr. Jay Cee Driesen.
Yeah,
welcome, Jay Cee.
People get confused with that sometimes, you know.
Well, I've known Tom. Oh my God! Before his days of opening for Sinatra.
Everyone asked me, "Are you related to Tom?" No, it's like no.
People would run into him and I at the Improv in L.A., or we'd be having lunch at Ma Maison, which he would pick up the tab because that's an expensive play. I mean, that is the ultra a la carte.
Okay.
Even speaking to the waiter is a $20 deal. Can I ask you a question? Yes, it's $20, sir. But he would pick up that. But I knew Tom before then, and people thought we were related. Now, we look nothing alike. Tom and I look nothing alike. I mean, if Jay Leno and I are sitting in the same room, they will mistake us, and they'll go, oh, okay, fine, yeah, but not Driesen. But I knew Tom because I lived in Chicago for a lot of years. Chicago's like my second home next to South Florida, Hollywood, Florida, where I grew up. And I love Tom dearly. He doesn't do shows like this. As a matter of fact, he doesn't do a lot of talk radio, talk television at all. He would go on every once in a while with Johnny, but that would be about it. He doesn't like doing talk of any kind. He does his own podcast, but it's music. So whatever it is. Jay Cee, you are from, if I got this right, Massapequa, New York?
I am. That's where I grew up. Yes.
That's a Native American name.
Yeah. The Massapequa. I don't know.
What does it mean? Do you know what it means?
Oh, I don't know. We used to call it growing up. We call it what is it? Mazza pizza, because like half Italian, half Jewish. So,
that's nice.
Yeah, I actually was born in Brooklyn, Bensonhurst, but Moved to Long Island when I was a little tot, and was there my whole life up until, oh my goodness, let's see, about, I guess it's like 17 years ago. We moved to Freeport and lived on the water in South
Mm-hmm.
Freeport, where I just loved it there. And
Yeah.
then now I'm in Florida. It's actually one
Mm-hmm.
year. It's, oh my God, I can't believe I've been here for a year full time. I miss New York. Yeah.
Well, it's like me in South Florida. I miss it. I grew up there. I love it very, very much. It's home to me.
Yeah.
It's home to me. When I was a little boy living in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, many, many, many years ago, I remember one Sunday I went with a family and friends to one of these lakes, and we were swimming in the lake. And I remember saying to my buddy's mom, I said, "What's home?" She said, "Gary, no matter how old you get, wherever your heart is, that's where home is."
Very true.
It doesn't have to be, excuse me, it doesn't have to be where you're born.
Hmm.
Doesn't have to necessarily be where you live for a number of years because, well, I'll be honest with you, I lived in Los Angeles for a number of years and I wouldn't go back there for all the money in the world. But wherever your heart is. Now,
Well,
do you mean New York City you miss, or do you miss
no, I miss
outside of the
I miss
city?
Long Island. That's where I, spent most of my time. But, I guess there's that saying, home is where you hang your hat.
Yeah.
So I guess that's true. I just have to get used to it here. I'm just not there yet.
Yeah.
Everyone says I'll get used to it, but I'm going home in April. I see. I keep calling it home, but in Florida's home now. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going back to Long Island in April for a couple of weeks. I have a couple of shows there, and I get to see all my friends. I miss all my friends. I'm
Well, I'll
lucky
tell you
that
what.
my friends come here to see me. But
Well,
yeah, so
well, you have to do me a big favor when you get up there.
okay.
Now, you're married, so you're off the market. So, and I'm very jealous of that, and I'm sure your husband is happy of that. So when you go home, if you have a relative as beautiful and as talented as you are,
Oh my goodness.
who would like to date an old guy like me, you let me know. I mean, I'm unabashed, I'm unabashed. I remember, here's a cute joke. When I moved from Las Vegas back to Florida, a friend of mine called me up, and she's a showgirl. And we did many shows together between Engelbert and Tom Jones and all the other people. And by the way, the entertainer that I'm going to talk about is a young lady who you have as one of your divas. And I worked with her and her husband. That was Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet. I
Ooh,
loved Edie.
that's
Edie,
cool.
Edie used to invite me over for dinner a lot. And Steve would too. And he'd say, "You're here again?" And Edie would go, "Yeah." And this was unfortunately, before Steve and Edie lost their son. But my friend Sherry calls me up and she says, "Are you dating?" Because I didn't date that much in Vegas. I was always on the road traveling and whatever. She said, "Are you dating yet?" I said, "No, I'm too busy. I don't have time to date." And she says, "Well, how about, go online?" That was just starting out, online dating and stuff like that. I said, "No, I've heard a lot of horrible stories about that." I said, "But does porn count?" And I'm joking, of course. And she said, "Gary, you got to stop with the jokes." And I said, no. I said, no, I'm not going to do online dating. Curiosity, when did music become, besides a listener like we all did as children, when did you say, "Yeah, that's what I want to do"?
That's a funny story. I actually, I say this a lot in my shows, that everyone should get divorced at least once in their lifetime, because then they realize what they really want to do for themselves.
Yeah.
I always sang. I would growing up. I had posters of Joni Mitchell and Carole King. I mean, that was like my influences, in Barbara Streisand and Shirley Bassey and Liza and all the big singers. And I would sing along to everything. One of my favorite bands of all time was Steely Dan. And I used to sing all the music of, Donald Fagen and Walter Becker. I just love them. And, but it was part-time. It was something that I just did for fun, kind of thing. And I worked in retail for many years, and wholesale. I worked for Rainbow Shops for like 25 years. Yeah. I was doing merchandising. I was in management. I was in visual. I would set up stores. And then, I realized it wasn't that I loved it,
Hmm.
because I love working with colors and all that kind of thing and creating, but music was my passion always.
Yeah.
And yeah, after my divorce, my first marriage, I said, I think it's time that I do something, with this. And I
Hmm.
did. And it just became professional for me. And I just started singing. Actually, where I first started, this is a funny story. I was singing at a bowling alley. No, this is really
I'm
true.
laughing because I can just see you in a bowling alley.
Yeah, and they had karaoke, and I got up and I
Oh.
was singing karaoke at a bowling alley. And this woman came over to me and said to me, "Oh my God, I love your voice. And we have entertainers that come and sing for our residents all the time. Would you come and sing for us? You do this professionally, right?" And I said, "Oh, absolutely."
Hmm.
And so we set up a date, and it's only an hour show. I said, "Fabulous." Well, the very next day, I went out and went to a music store on Long Island. I bought a whole sound system, microphone, background music, everything. I didn't do anything with it. I didn't know anything before that. It was only fun, karaoke.
Hmm.
And that's what did it for me. And I started singing from that moment on. And then I just branched out, and then I created this whole world that I did. That I started from nothing, and now I'm my own corporation, Jay Cee Review Inc. And I go around and I perform all over, and it's the best.
And you know something? Learning from the ground up
Ah,
is the
yeah.
idea. My mother was an interior decorator, and she learned the decorating business from upholstering furniture to
Oh,
refinishing furniture from the bottom up. And I think that's the best way. And in show business, for those of you who
absolutely.
don't know it, you need to do your homework. You need to set the groundwork for the future, because there's a lot of things along the way that people will try to BS you with. And if you know otherwise, you can say, yeah, 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 right. Take a hike.
Very
I'm
true.
Gary Allen. You're listening to Main Street. Jay Driesen, no relation to Tom, unfortunately. She is a virtuoso, a renowned singer in South Florida, and one of the most. And you'll find out in a little while. She has one of the most beautiful voices around in the business itself. When you started doing uh, uh, singing and stuff, and you did that first gig, where did it take you from there? Because a lot of singers say, well, I want to learn how to sing, but they don't know how to market themselves. They don't know how to get out there with advertising.
It was not easy. I mean, like I said, when I first started, it was in like a senior development, that had shows. And then from there, and it was on Long Island. And then from
Hmm.
there, once you get into one facility, your name gets spread around. I sat with the yellow pages and went through each and every like senior facility on Long Island, and I would send out like CDs and and promo and stuff, and that's how I got my name through the circuit, so to speak. And that's
Hmm.
where it all started for me. But from yellow pages.
Yeah,
Nowadays it's totally different. It's the touch of a finger, and
hmm.
everything's on the computer. It's a whole nother world. But
Do you think that that's one thing that artists sometimes forget, is to understand that marketing is 90% of the game?
oh, absolutely. You have to know how to market yourself for sure. You have to have good promo. I mean, that's what it's all about. Someone has said to me that my promo isn't good enough. I mean,
Hmm.
it's, this is what you have to work on all the time. You have to reinvent yourself all the time. You have to go with
Yeah.
change, and, with the way things are and the way music goes. You have to always like learn new material and keep up with the times. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it's marketing and advertising and promotional work and stuff like that. Do
Right.
you?
It's
Yeah.
not only about singing. It's true.
No.
It's not only about the performance. I mean, if you're in it in your own business, and if
Yeah.
this is your full-time career, it's, people think it's all glitz and glory. You get on stage, you're singing, it's like fabulous. It's fantastic and all that, but they don't know what goes into getting to that, with learning the material, picking out the right music,
Hmm.
getting the right music, whether it's tracks, whether it's charts, whether it's, working by yourself, whether it's working with a band, and trying to get all that stuff and making flyers and, and all kinds of things and packaging. It's every day. I'm on the
Right.
computer every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's a full-time career. So,
Yeah.
it's not just getting up on stage and doing an hour and a half show and saying, call it a day.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot. It's a lot.
I can remember traveling with some of the people of note that I worked for over the years, even Tom Jones and Engelbert and stuff that I would work for here and there, rehearsing every day, doing something downstairs in the showroom, even if it's for an hour, just rehearsing, just going over stuff, going over new, which brings up the question. When you began, I know you have a love affair for Barbara Streisand and some of the divas, and we're going
Yeah.
to talk about those shows as we progress along here. But what music do you select and what do you edit out? Because look, Barbara Streisand has an enormous catalog. So does Lady Gaga. So does some of the others that you admire a great deal. But not all of their music is appropriate for you and your audience and for the style in which you present it. So talk about the progression of selection of music that you do and that you have in your repertoire, and then the ones that you add as you go along. What do you look for you and your audience?
Well, for me, the most important thing is the connection that I have to my audience. I mean, that's where it all lies as far as um, getting my point across through a song. It's all about emotion. I mean, and if I could do torch big ballads, every day, all night long, that would be wonderful. But unfortunately, you can't only do ballads. You have to change it up. You have to do a variety of music, so to speak. For me, but it's the lyric, that gives me that connection that I
Mhm.
feel that I can interpret in my own way. I would never say I'm not an impersonator. I would never impersonate Barbara Streisand or all these big singers that I love so much, because there is only one Barbara, there is only one Shirley Bassey, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's only one Jay Cee, so it's like, what I do is for the love of it and to get that love across and that emotion and that passion. That's for
Mhm.
me. That's how I pick my music, through the story, the lyric, what moves me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I feel
Yeah.
like what moves me, hopefully, will move you. you know.
Yeah. And it's interesting you say, there's a lot of singers out there, and there are. And I remember having a discussion with a singer, someone of note that I won't mention, but we were talking about singing. I was working with him, and I said, "What's important, the phrasing or what comes from the heart?" He said, "Both."
Mm,
You have to be able to. He said, "Anybody can get up and sing the Star Spangled Banner, but it's what
true.
you put into it and how you phrase it, how you take each word and make something from it, and
Woo.
and the heart that you put into it." He said, "Anybody can get up and sing it. That's not a
Yeah,
hassle. A sixth grader can do that, but
that's
it's the
true.
idea." And you have to. Frank Sinatra once said that too on some interview, that it's phrasing,
Yeah.
learning that. Is that the difficult thing for singers, young singers, to kind of get? Yeah, I can sing, I can belt it out there, but
Uh,
learning how to deal with the instrument called the voice.
I don't know. I mean, for me, it was all off the cuff. I mean, I never went to school for it. It was a raw talent for me, and I
Mhm.
just kind of learned as I went along by listening to other singers and kind of thing. But I get from audience members that have come up to me after the show and they say to me, your voice is incredible. I love your voice, but it's the way you present it, and you can feel like your voice gets me right into my heart, and
Right.
that's what it's all about. I mean, I'm the kind of person, and no matter whatever I do, I'm like this. I roll up my sleeves and I take over. Everything is power, it's
Mhm.
big production, when I sing, I'm a belter. I love to belt, it's like I don't know what it is, but it's everything is just all blood and guts for me. I just
Mhm.
let it all out there. But yeah, it's about also doing that, but it's also about holding back. you have to learn, you know, you got to do the, you know, as you go along, you just learn what fits and what doesn't fit.
Right, right. And getting back to something we talked about just a little bit ago, what do you eventually remove from your charts that you don't do with this song anymore? You've done it forever, and you add something to it. What do you really look for, though? I mean, just because Barbara Streisand may have a new album coming out next year, which I have no idea whether she does or she doesn't mean you're going to take something from that album. What is it that you have to add to your playlist that makes it move for you?
I go along with what I feel what my audience wants, you know? I mean, I do a lot of venues where I have a lot of people that follow me. If I did the same material all the time, it would be very boring, not only for them, but for me, you know? So I like to change it up. I like variety. My
Hmm.
show is usually, my show is never the same when I'm playing with tracks, and it's like two different things. You know, when I'm playing with a band, it's a little different because it's more structured, you know, and you have players and you have charts, and you know, I'm always adding new material in because, like I said, I want variety. But when I'm doing a show with tracks, I'm doing everything from Broadway to pop to blues to jazz to rock to country to disco to oldies, everything. They call
Hmm.
me the human jukebox because I sing so many different genres of music, you know,
Hmm.
and that's what I love. I love to do. So like Adele's new song, "Easy on Me." I mean, it's just like I heard it, I loved it. Now I know a lot of the songs people say Adele. A lot of the songs they sound the same, kind of,
Hmm.
but there's certain lyrics in her music that like really touches me and really gets me. So I feel like I can do something with that, you know. Uh,
Hmm.
so I brought that into my repertoire. I mean, it's just like, you know, you hear songs and they move you.
Right, right. Um, let's talk a little bit about where you're going to be performing. I want people to know you're
Oh
watching Main
yeah.
Street with Cee Driesen is my guest, Gary Allen, your host, every Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Let's talk about you have an upcoming show that I know you really
Well,
want to talk
this
about.
is really, really important. Actually, it's coming up this Sunday.
By the
It's
way, Mindy Turner says
oh,
she loved your performance. I guess it was last week.
oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you, Mindy. I love you. I have so many, you know, it's so funny. It's like my fans, I have such loyal fans. I have
Joan Cecil says she loves you, or Ceci, or if I
Cecil.
mispronounce your
Actually,
name,
it's Cecil. It's actually
Cecil. She loves you.
yes, and I love her too. You know, my fans have
Hmm.
turned into friends, which have turned into
Oh
family.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's the way that's the way it is in my world. I mean, I'm not this kind of person that's like, you know, hands off. I mean, I welcome the love that I get from so many people, and I've created a wonderful friendship and fan base and family that travel all over. I do cruise ships. I do a group cruise. All my fans and friends come on and do a
Right,
group cruise with me.
right,
I mean,
right.
it's wonderful. It really is. It's just
So
it's really
talk about this show coming up here.
well, this show coming up is this Sunday, and it's in my home where I live in Bellagio, which with a B, which is in Lake Worth, Florida.
Hmm.
This show is very important because we are raising money for cancer research. So it's put on by PAP's organization, and it's like it's a donation. It's only $25 a ticket. I'm doing it with my live band, which is going to be awesome. And it's like a mix of songs from the divas, you know, Barbara and Tina Turner and
Yeah.
Shirley Bassey and all that great music. And you know, uh, this is what it's all about, you know, when you're spreading the love out there and spreading love, nothing else. Don't want to spread anything else. um this is what we need to do to like I don't know, make something happen. I still can't believe that there's no cure for cancer, and you know,
Well,
it's like it's just unbelievable to me.
so where do people get a hold of tickets and make reservations?
So, if they go on my Facebook page, which is Jay Cee Driesen, and then it's actually slash Jill Wasserman. That's my legal name. Um,
She's in the witness. She's in the witness protection program.
it's an alias. I have posted like the show, so you can click on the link, and all you do, and you can buy tickets right from. You put your name in there, and you put your credit card in, and there you go. And then you bring that email with you, and then you get when you get to the show. And it's, there's actually social distancing in the show. You do have to show either vaccination, vaccination card, or like a negative test or something like that. There are COVID rules, of course, but there's plenty of room in the showroom because it holds like close to 600 people. And I think they're limiting it to 400. So that gives enough people room to like spread around and move the seats if they're, not comfortable or whatever. But it's a beautiful, beautiful ballroom. The sound is incredible. There's an unbelievable sound man that's going to be there. And of course, and the band. So it's going to be great. So everybody needs to come.
Okay. All right. Sounds good to me. Just go on your Facebook page and all the information is there for this Sunday.
That's
and it's for a worthy cause.
It's an 8 p.m. It's an 8 p.m. show. So you got plenty of time to go to the beach in the afternoon and then hang out at night.
Yeah, well, for me in the afternoon, I'm usually asleep on Sundays. I go to church in the morning. Yes, I go to church.
Okay.
although I must tell you, if my brother, who is a Greek Orthodox bishop, found out I was going to church, he'd roll over. He'd go, huh? I'd say, listen, you weren't the religious one in the family I can remember. I just want to thank some people, by the way. Before we get any further, Jay Cee Driesen is my guest today on Main Street. Gary Allen with you here on the C News Network. I just want to thank Michael and Grant Miller for the platform to do this particular program. Also, our community sponsors, the Japanese Gardens of Miami, they're going to be putting together something really great over the next couple of years, building something fantastic down there in the Elks Lodges of South Florida. Thank you for your continued support. We really appreciate it. And we will have some exciting news coming up about that very soon for all the members of the Japanese Garden and the Elks Club. As I said, I traveled on the road with a lot of entertainers, and I know you do it on a local basis. Now, when I did it, we were going from major city to major city, sometimes from one part of Europe to the other part of Europe.
Wow.
You're doing it.
That's what I aspire to do. Like I would.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because
not right now. Yeah. But eventually, yes, I would love to travel all over and do shows all over, and be a household. Yeah. That would be wonderful.
Yes, you would. But you're a household name in my house.
In my house.
In my house, you're a household name. So I mean, what can I tell you?
Like I say, I'm a diva. I'm a diva in my own mind. Okay.
You're a diva? Yeah, but you know what? The word diva conjures up things that, first of all, Edie was really nice.
Oh.
Barbara's a little standoffish. I know that, because I know Brolin. I know the junior. I don't know the senior. And Lady Gaga is one of the sweetest, nicest ladies you'll ever meet in your life.
I love Lady Gaga. Yeah.
There was a song, Judy Garland was she epitomized what a true professional should be. Do you remember Peter Allen?
Yeah, I love Peter Allen.
Do you remember the song that he wrote for her when he was alive? And he was married to Liza, which, by the way, God bless her, I saw her the other night, and it just broke my heart. It was like when I watched Tony Bennett on the last time he's going to perform anywhere because of Alzheimer's. It broke my heart because I worked with Tony.
Quiet Please, there's a lady on stage?
Yes, he wrote that for Judy Garland. And when you hear that song, it just tears your heart apart. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, go on YouTube for Peter Allen and go ahead with Quiet Please as a lady on stage.
Oh my goodness.
And you will love it to no end. You really
As a matter of fact, just to you mentioned Peter Allen. I'm actually closing my show with a Peter Allen song.
Oh, which one?
Called Once Before I Go.
Yes.
There's another one that just it just called out to me. I heard that song and just fell in love with it. And I was like, oh my God. And it's it's a great closer because it's like, I don't really want to go, but I have to.
No.
But before I go, I have to tell you this,
Yeah.
It's just incredible. But yeah, Peter Allen, the best. I should do a show with all Peter Allen songs.
I'll tell you what, he was not a huge star in his
Yeah,
day,
not many people would know like all of his stuff, I think. I don't know.
but boy, what he could do on stage, and he was campy and everything, and he was just absolutely wonderful.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you talk about songs that hit you in
See?
your heart.
Yeah.
There's a song that Tony Bennett would do on stage, and he would always look over at me the few times that we worked together, and he would smile. It's not just his song, but it's called "I Remember You," and I love that song very much. And then my uncle Tubby Boots, for those of you in Miami that will remember him, there was a song that he loved very much. Is "How Do You Keep the Music Playing?"
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yes, those are two songs. I played both of them last night.
Marilyn and Alan Bergman. Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
Yeah, but I love Johnny Mathis's version of it.
Yeah.
Now there's a performer, Johnny Mathis, but he's like 90 something years old now,
He
but
was here in Florida actually doing a show not too long ago. Everyone said he was just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Incredible talent. That's the other thing. It's like when you're on stage and you're singing, the presentation, how you dress, how you look, how you care about your audience is all part of the performance besides the singing.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing I don't like about Las Vegas anymore. People show up for 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock shows in flip-flop shorts and a tank top. And yes. And they did when I was performing there. One night there was a gentleman sitting in the front row and I was doing my opening act, and Tom came out to do his. This was at the MGM, and this gentleman was there with his wife. It was an 8 o'clock show. She was in a little sarong thing with her bathing suit underneath. Stopped the show, had them escorted out, had their money refunded, because he said, if you can't give me the respect that I'm giving you to be, and it was the first time I ever heard Tom ever get upset about anything. That's the thing that bothers me the most, is people don't respect performers the way they should be respected.
Yeah, especially like with the phone, like you're doing a concert and you're looking out there and you see people like looking at their phone. That time that Patti LuPone went out there and grabbed some guy's phone and took it away from him and didn't give him back to him until the show was over. I was like, yeah, you go, Patti.
Engelbert did the same thing. The phone was ringing in the middle before he started the song, and it rang, and he stopped. And he looked right where that phone was ringing, and the woman answered the phone, and she's talking like she's in her living room. And he said, and she finally looks up. She says, "Go about the show." And he said, "No, we'll wait till you're done. I mean, we're not doing anything big here." I mean, it was just absolutely incredible.
Very true.
What other dates you got coming up? Because I want people to come and see you.
Okay, so there's this Sunday. So I have there's another great show, that's a big show that's in Florida. It's not going to be until July, but it's going to be at the Arts Garage in Delray Beach, and it's I'm going to do my show Shirley Bassey and Friends. So it's a mix of, if you don't know who Shirley Bassey is, I know some people don't know, but all I have to do is say Goldfinger, and then they know who Shirley Bassey is.
Yeah.
So, so I'm excited about that. And then I'm coming up to New York, and I'm doing some shows on Long Island. I'm going to be in Plainview on April 23rd. I'm actually doing a show at the Plainview Old Bethpage Library. Some of the libraries on Long Island are phenomenal. They have beautiful theaters, auditoriums, stage of the art, sound and lighting. So I'm going to be there on Saturday, April 23rd, celebrating the music of Barbra Streisand, because she is turning 80 this year. And on her birthday, which is the next day, the 24th of April, I'm doing a tribute to Barbra Streisand at the Merrick Library on Long Island. Wow. And then I'll be in Port Washington at the Landmark Theater on April 27th. All this information and all these upcoming shows you can always get on my website, which is just my name, jayceedriesen.com, JayCeedriesen.
Yes.
And and always follow me that way. And you can also go on my YouTube channel and click subscribe so I can get some more followers on YouTube, which would be wonderful.
Oh God, it is so hard to do that.
So hard.
While we're talking about the music, Andres, could you please bring up the live performance from Birdland, which I think
Oh,
is great.
yeah. Love it.
Weather Report did a great song about Birdland. Andres, could you play that beautiful? Does it need an introduction other than you and the live orchestra playing at Birdland?
Um, no, it was one of the greatest times of my life being able to perform at the #1 club in New York City. Birdland was it.
All right, let's have a few minutes of Cee Driesen at Birdland. Let it go there, my buddy. Ooh, look at that. This is oh wow. Ah.
Citations on the living wall. Got a scrapbook full of quotes, I can't recall them all. There were times I thought the world belonged to me, and so you see, if I never sing another song, it shouldn't bother me. I've had my share of fame, you know my name. Your turn at
Okay. That's a little taste of you on stage for sure. That's for sure.
Thank you so much.
I mean, you have a wonderful voice. It's a beautiful voice.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
How much do you rehearse every day?
I don't.
What?
Because I sing so much. I'm constantly singing. I'm a full-time entertainer, so I'm working, 3, 4, depends, sometimes 5 shows in a week. And so my performance itself is my workout. So if I sang rehearsed during the day in the afternoon for a show at night, by the time, 3 or 4 shows later, I wouldn't have a voice left. So I like, unless it's like a new song for me, I'll obviously, I have to rehearse on that kind of stuff. But most of the time unless it's a big show, I don't rehearse that much.
Looking at your career now and thinking back to that karaoke beginning.
Oh boy.
Which, by the way, I'm
Big
not
difference in life.
Yeah,
But
I
sure,
can't sing anyway. I mean, even in the shower, my cat goes, "Would you stop it already?"
it's
Um,
great. It's great. It's a great outlet for frustrated singers. That's for
yeah,
sure. It's
yeah.
it's wonderful.
Have you
But
ever noticed when some people do get up there to do the karaoke, they absolutely, positively take it dead serious.
oh,
Like,
absolutely. Yeah. This is very important to them. Like this is, front and center. They love it. Absolutely. But
I'm,
I have to say, like from when I started to like where I am now, it's like sometimes I'm like
but what advice
I'm
would you
living
give?
the dream. I'm living the dream. How am I even doing this? It's like, wow.
But the question is, what advice would you give that young karaoke singer the first time she got on stage
You
compared
know,
to where you are now?
well, you know what I think is really important, like to give to advice to like new singers. Everyone has their niche, everyone knows what they do best.
Hmm.
I would say stick with that. Like, if you sing like Broadway songs, great. Sing Broadway songs. Like, don't try and sing, a disco tune or a rap tune or something where that's not your forte. Like not everybody can sing every genre of music.
No.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Except like Shirley Bassey. Shirley Bassey can sing everything. Um,
Hmm.
I have to say, I
So could Ella.
that's true. That is true. I am blessed that way where I can do a lot of different genres of music. That's how come I relate so much to Shirley Bassey. But like Barbara Streisand, she mostly sings ballads, strong, poignant, beautiful, incredible. I mean, her voice is a songbird. It's unbelievable. I'm not a songbird. I'm like I don't have that high pitched sound. I'm like I sing with balls. It's like totally different. Um, but I don't see Barbara doing, rock songs, that kind of thing. Where like I'm a rocker at heart too, you know.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I love doing rock and roll and
Okay. All right. Who's your favorite rock and roll?
well, I'm not gonna say real hard rock, but like rock stuff like let's
Uh,
not I'm not gonna say Joan Jett, but like Bonnie Raitt style, because she's like crossover, like country, R&B, rock, smooth rock kind of stuff. I love Dusty Springfield.
mm.
Oh my God, I love Dusty Springfield. Uh, Petula Clark. We're going back a little ways, kind of. But
How about Helen
Linda
Reddy?
Ronstadt, I love Linda Ronstadt.
Helen Reddy?
Yeah, I love Helen Reddy.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And
One of my dear friends opened for her for years, Elaine Boozler.
oh my God, I worked with Elaine Boozler. Oh
Yeah,
my God, a few years ago.
she's now living in Italy full time.
Italy. Yes, I know. I see her posts all the time on
Yes.
Facebook. But I did a whole bunch of shows with her. Oh my God, let me see. It was probably like maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago down here in Florida. Yeah, she's great. Oh, I love her.
Yeah.
Such a sweetheart. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was great. But yeah, so that's I don't know. That's kind of like
What do you take? What do you take from each one? When you see Barbara Streisand, you see Edie Gourmet, you see Lady Gaga, you see Helen Reddy, you see all of these. Because when actors first start out, they kind of take a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Young people will often say to me, "Well, where did you learn?" I said, "Well, I watched Spencer Tracy, who was the greatest of the
Mhm.
greats."
Yeah.
But everybody takes a little bit here and a little bit there, puts it together, and then eventually develops their own style.
There
What do
is
you take from all of them?
there is just something about like when I watch Barbara Streisand, and I listen to her. I mean, I just watched Adele the other night. She was on, and I don't know. I'm like a sponge. I see it, and
Mhm.
I just absorb it, and I'm like, oh my God, I think I could really have fun with that, or it would just it touches me.
Mhm.
I don't. Like I said, it's so for me. It's all about the emotion from the song, from the lyric, and that's the where it goes mostly. So
Yeah. You're watching Mainstream. Cee Driesen is my guest. Gary Allen, your host. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. right here on the JC, right? The C News Network with this lovely lady. Next week we have the Elks and the Japanese Garden joining us, and we'll give you some more information on that as we go along. Where are you going now? I mean, you're performing a lot. You're getting acclaim. You're getting well known. Where are you going? What's the next step for you?
As my career has like progressed, you know, every venue has gotten like bigger and bigger and bigger along the way. Before COVID, I had the most incredible performance in my hometown of Massapequa, performing in front of 8,000 people at John J. Burns Park. I did a Salute to America and a Diva show, and that was just like, that was incredible. I mean, I performed in Mexico. I've been in Atlantic City, you know, resorts, casino. Oh my God, you know, you'll get a kick out of this. I loved performing at resorts. I was so excited. I was told actually that Frank Sinatra used the dressing room that I was using, and I was like, oh my God, I sat on the same toilet as Sinatra.
Well, okay.
You know, I mean, every
now don't tell me you went down below, you unscrewed it from the bottom, and you took the seat with you, and it hangs on your wall now. Frank sat here.
No, I didn't. But that would have been cute. That would have been fun.
Hey.
Yeah. So, you know, I just hope and pray. Listen, you know, it's like, I always say this. I never know what's around the next corner. I don't know what's going to be there. And as long as I'm singing, I'm happy. I mean, last week I sang at a festival, you know, flea market, you know, on the island. I mean, I'll sing in a parking lot. I don't care. As long as I'm singing, I'm happy. Of course, you know, I love performing on cruise ships. I love performing in big theaters, and like every venue for me, the opportunity to be able to just share the love of music with anyone is just is great for me. And, you know, if it goes to the next step and the next level, and that's great. But you have to be happy where you are, because, you know, that's what you got. You got to live for today. Nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring. So let's live for today and enjoy today.
Right. I mean, the best advice I ever got as a young actor, and I wasn't a very good actor. I mean, as Tubby used to say, I was on the downside of a mediocre career to begin with. I was better as a comic. But the best advice I ever got, not only from him, but for other actors, was point blank: the more you're out there, the more opportunities will come your way.
Very true. And you don't know whatever those, you know, venues are, they are, because you never know who's in the audience. It's just, I know.
That's how a lot of, listen, I'm just going to say this. This is the last wives' tale story, and it's true. When my father passed away in South Florida, and I sold the condo and I moved to Las Vegas, my whole intention was to get a job with Steve Wynn, because my family and the Wynn family knew each other. He was building a hotel at the time, and I was offered a job before I even left South Florida to go and work for him once it was built. In the meantime, I took little part-time jobs, never thinking about show business ever again. I thought, that's done. That's finished. I'm in my late 40s. This ain't going to happen anymore. A friend of mine said, my MC for next Saturday night is not happening. Can you please MC for me? Because you're a radio host and everything else. Now, at the time, Jay Cee, I suffered from stage fright.
Wow.
Bad. I mean, I couldn't even get near a stage. Anyway, to make a long story short, it all worked out. I get a phone call one day from a certain manager of a certain performer who's well known in Las Vegas. I go and have lunch with him, and he starts me on the road back into show business. Next thing I know, I'm doing little comedy clubs around Las Vegas, doing my little act, putting it together, boom, boom, boom. Next thing I know, I get a call from Danny, who is Tony Bennett's son, Danny. My dad would like you to come and open for him. And I said, well, does he even know my act? He said, he's seen enough. and
Wow.
he was in the audience at the God, I'm going crazy. He was in the audience, and he watched you perform with Steve and Edie, and he watched you perform, and he wants you to come on his July 4th special for the Navy in San Diego on the aircraft carrier Midway for the
Wow.
Admiralty. Now, I wasn't the only one. They had singers and dancers. It was a whole McGill
Yeah.
production. But if I hadn't done that show with Steve and Edie, I would have never made the connection with Tony Bennett. I would
Yeah.
have never got with Tom Jones again. I would have never been, even though Tom knew me as a kid, and Engelbert and all the others, and Michael Bublé, blah, 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 blah. And I would have, I would have never, but I put myself out there. So for performers that are watching this, if you put yourself out there, something good's going to happen. Something good will eventually happen.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you've got
you have to have a really good support system too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you need to have, your family and your friends behind you, and that kind of thing. And I'm blessed and, grateful for that I have that. I mean, my mom is like my number one fan, and my husband is there for me. Like, he schleps my equipment. He does the sound, lighting, tech stuff.
Very jealous of that. I'm very jealous of that.
My shows, which is great. But my fans, I have like such loyal, dedicated, unbelievable, wonderful fans. And they follow me whenever they can, which is, I'm grateful to them. That's one other thing also. You can't like forget where you started. You can't forget where it all comes from.
Right.
And if everybody did that, also, and also, I think if everybody realized also these other entertainers that are out there realize that there is enough to go around for everybody. Unfortunately, people are like, so afraid to like share or whatever, but you can't play the same place 24/7. It's impossible. So, you have to share the love.
Yeah. But the one thing that this all comes down to, which was going to be what I wanted to bring up next, was if you don't have a thick skin,
oh my goodness,
if you can't take criticism, and if you can't understand where it's coming from, don't get in this business.
So true.
Because I have, and I'm sure you have, and you've heard of actors and everything. You go for auditions, and they go, you don't even open your mouth. They go, next. You haven't even done anything.
So much rejection. Oh my God, so much rejection. Yeah. You have to be able to have a tough skin. But then when you get on stage, it's all worth it. You've gotten, to that point. But before you get to that point, oh God, it's so hard. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I'm going to tell you something too. And you know this, even if you're related to somebody famous, yes, it might get you through that front door.
Yeah.
But once you get through that door and you're on the other side, if you don't produce, and I mean produce, they're going out the other door on the other side of the room. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Time is money, and money is time, and people don't have time to be wasting on people who just aren't there yet. And for those of you out there, my advice to people is don't go to LA to try to get your stuff together, or go to New York. You better get it together before you go there, because those two cities, including Chicago, place I love very much, will eat you alive.
Absolutely.
They'll eat you alive. They'll run over you faster than you could. I mean, last night or the other night when I was watching the Oscars, other than a few actors here or there, I don't even know who half of these young actors are that were presenting or receiving, because I'm not a big movie goer much anymore. I don't know who these people are. I don't know where they come from. These gossip talk shows that are on there, like TMZ and everything, I have no use for that stuff. Yeah, I just don't have any use for it. But yeah, if you don't have thick skin, you're done.
Very true. You have to have thick skin. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're going to get it from a live audience. Even I'm sure you've had it.
I'll tell you a funny story. Do we have time?
Oh, sure.
Okay, let me tell you this funny story. I was performing at a venue, I'm going to say in Florida, a few years ago. And it was a beautiful show, had a fantastic show. It was like 500 in the audience, whatever. Everybody had such a good time. I think it was like even at an outdoor venue, and it was so hot. I wore an outfit. I think it was like a short skirt or something like this. And a woman came over to me. I think she had to be, I'm going to say, 85, something like that. And she said, honey, I just want to tell you one thing. It was a very good show, but don't ever show your knees. And I went, excuse me? No, don't ever show your knees, because it's not a very, it's not a very pretty sight on a lady's. That's not her best feature, is not her knees. And don't show your elbows either. That's not good either. Well, I want you to know, okay, Gary, from that moment, okay, I have never, ever been on stage ever showing my knees or my elbows. And out of the 500, like 499 accolades of everyone coming to tell me how much they enjoyed it. Oh, they loved it. They loved it. They loved it. What did I take away from that show? That one lady that will never, ever leave my brain. So it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy world.
I know. I mean, you can get 1,000 people that love you, and one person will say something about you, and that's that one person. That's the one. What was she supposed to do with your elbows? Tuck them in like this, and hey, I can't sing like this.
No, you wear long sleeves when you're on.
Yeah, but you're a beautiful woman. What's wrong with your knees and your elbows?
Not supposed to show them. I mean, what can I say?
Come on.
Well, listen, I'm not a little fry, I'm not a little chickadee, so maybe it just didn't look good on me. Whatever, but I did learn never to show my knees again.
Oh my God! Hey, the hour has gone by.
What?
Yeah.
I was so confused. I'm like, what am I going to talk to you about for an hour? Wow.
Well, it's the same as our good friend Peter Vogel, who was on a couple of weeks ago.
Peter, love Peter.
Yes, Peter, and then I'm going to have. I got to get a hold of Chris Arturo. I got to have him on as well. Maybe I'll have you both on at the same time. That'd be fun.
I love Chris. Yeah.
She is Jay Cee Driesen. Go to her website and check out the performance for this Sunday. Tell them how they find you there.
Yes, you go to my website, okay, which is jcdriesen.com. You can also go on my Facebook page, Jay Cee Driesen /Jill Wasserman. You could go on Instagram. I'm on all social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it, I'm out there. And you can pick up a ticket for this Sunday's show, April 3rd, for cancer research fundraising. It's so important, everybody. We need to raise awareness and try and make some money for this incredible cause. And it's going to be a great show. You'll have a good time. There's even desserts afterwards.
Ooh. Maybe I'll even show up. No, Sunday I sleep. Well,
you have a piece of cake. You can't go.
Hey,
wrong.
Such a deal. I want like I go. No, my Rabbi High Kalanick would say, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" Hey, it has been a gas to have you on the program. I'm so glad we had a chance.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh my God.
Hey, listen, I hope to see you live when I get home one of these days. Somebody made a comment here, cut out the local tugs and stuff like that. Hey, I love Miami. I went to the U, for God's sakes. I love my hometown.
Hey.
But anyway, I want to thank you, and I want to thank all of you out there so much. And I also want to just thank my executive producer, Rick Del Vecchio. I want to thank my studio producer, Andres and Ilion, for helping me with this program. Michael and Grant Miller for giving me the platform in which to do this program. Our community sponsors, the Japanese Garden and the Elks Lodges of South Florida. Thank you all very much for sponsoring the show, being part of this particular program. Without you, I could not do this program. We'll be back next week with a program about the Elks and the Japanese Garden and some news. Hopefully by then that we'll have this all kind of straightened out moving forward. But until next time, and just stay right there, Jay Cee. Until next week, please do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye for now.